So, everyone, it's brilliant to see so many people here, people from all around the world, people who we used to practice Shintaido with. I haven't seen you for a while, and you come here, and I'm delighted because it's exactly what I hoped this evening would be. So many people coming to celebrate this book, Aikukan, A Life in Shintaido by Masashi. What we're going to do, the first half hour or so, will be a discussion between myself and Masashi about the book and about what he was planning to do with it. Masashi will be speaking in Japanese, and Masahiro, who's sitting with him, will be translating for us tonight. After we've talked about it, then we'll broaden the discussion out to everybody and finish at the end just with a moment of celebration, because it does feel like an important moment for the Shintaido community to have this book in existence. It's a book that British Shintaido has been working on with Masashi for the last year. And we've had a team here who've contributed a huge amount. Masahiro, who's on screen, but others, Nagako, especially working with the translation, Laurent, who did all the design and the work on the pictures and designed the cover and so on. Pam, who would say that she was the proofreader, but she has been just steering us all carefully all the way through as well. And myself, I've been editing it. Just to say, for those who haven't seen it, it's a very personal journey. It's a very personal life in Shintaido. That was the reason for the subtitle. It's not a technical manual. You won't learn how to do Shintaido or how to make sense of it well, you won't learn how to do it, but you will learn what it has meant for Masashi, and maybe you might find something in yourself about what it might mean for you as well. So there's no techniques. It's also not about organizations and structures and politics and all that sort of stuff. It's a book about Masashi and what he's done. It's in 4 sections. The first section is called My Journey, and it's his life story, his life in Japan, from childhood, from meeting Aoki Sensei and working through Rakutenkai and for the Shintaido organization and so on, then deciding to leave Japan, coming to Britain, and everything that's happened to him from that point. The second section is we're calling Insights and Inspirations. There are many, many anecdotes about people who've been important to him. Many anecdotes, of course, about Aoki Sensei, who permeates the book completely. But many other people, the Dalai Lama, his trip to Nanjing, and so on. The third section is about his important contribution to the Shintaido curriculum, the creation of the Tenshin Gosu arrangements, and the creation of Diamond 8. And again, this is not technical so much. It's about everything that he put into it and brought together and distilled and clarified for those limpid forms that we work with nowadays. And the final section is called Into a New Epoch, and it's about all the changes that have had to occur, both emotionally and actually structurally, after Aoki Sensei withdrew from Shintaido, and we need to set up a new system and so on, and then Ito Sensei's passing, and so on. So a new epoch that is the one that we're all living in today. So that's the broad outline of the book. This is a book I think you've been thinking about for quite a long time. Tell us about the origination of the idea of what you were doing and what your essential idea was in writing it.
はじめに今日お集まりの皆様、そしてこの本の出版に多大なエネルギーと情熱を注いでくださったスタッフの皆様に心より御礼申し上げます。
So, first of all, I'd like to express my gratitude for everyone who's gathered here today. but also especially to all the staff, all the people that have put so much energy and passion into publishing this book.
私はじめは本を出版することは全く考えていませんでした。
Initially, I had no thoughts about writing or publishing a book.
で、私は長い間、幸運にも青木先生の制作現場にいて、その光景や先生の作品、カリキュラムの作り、思想の記録係をしたり、また先生の組み手のパートナーとして長いこと働いていました。
I was fortunate that for many years, I was there with Aoki Sensei during his creative process. I got to see his process of creating curriculum, techniques. I was also the record keeper for any of his thought processes that went on during that period. And of course, I was also his kumite partner for those techniques as well.
先生はずっと組手、私を通して組手をして、たくさんの情報を私の体の中に刻んでいてくれたということを随分後になって知りました。
And it was only until quite a bit of time had passed that I realized that throughout this process where Aoki Sensei was demonstrating or practicing these techniques with me, that a lot of that information was imparted in my body.
組手のことでね、ちょっと思い出したことがあります。私、先生と組手をしていると、先生が私を投げて、私、いつも空中に飛んでいたんですね。で、その時に、ここにいる息子、小さかったんですけども、稽古が終わった後、私のリベンジということで先生をアタックして、先生が倒れ込んだという、そういうエピソードがありました。
So actually, while we're talking about kumite, just an episode crosses my mind that during the many times that Aoki Sensei used to throw me for these techniques, when my son beside me here used to observe that after the keiko had finished, he would actually go on a bit of a revenge mission to attack Aoki Sensei for daring to throw his father.
そうで、青木先生との組手はね、本当にね、自由でね、楽しかった。そのことを皆さんに伝えたかった。
And I wanted to express and tell everyone how wonderful and free this kumite and practice with Aoki Sensei was.
新態度をね、している多くの、皆さんは先生の、完成されたプログラムしか知らないと思います。私は先生が作ったプログラムで、未発表、うまくいかなかった未発表のものも含めて、青木ワールドのその、見える世界と見えない世界をまとめて私のメモリー、記憶の箱の中に投げ入れていました。
So for many people, we're only taught the finished articles that Aoki Sensei had created. But of course, I got to see and be involved with the many curriculum, many techniques that may not have been deemed successful or been completed. So I got to see both the seen and the unseen world of Aoki Sensei. And what I did was I stored all of that information within my own personal memory box.
で、イギリスに来てさまざまなグループに紹介したりプログラムを考えたときに、どうしようかなと思ったときに不思議とそのメモリーボックスが開いて私にその断片を見せて、くれます。
And when I first came to England and I started introducing Shintaido to the many various different groups, and whenever I was at a loss for what to do, strangely and wonderfully, a lot of these sort of memories resurfaced to show me what to do.
イメージとしていろんな棚が私の後ろにあってそれの棚がパッと開くんですね。その時に一枚の紙がスッと落ちてくるとそういうイメージでした。
And as an image, it's almost as if I have many shelves with drawers behind me, and that whenever needed, the correct drawer would open and maybe drop a piece of paper. That would give me the information that's required.
で、そのプログラムをやると、とてもみんな和やかになって、とても楽しい稽古ができたという思い出がたくさんありました。
And I have many memories of these episodes when these have occurred, and whenever these things happened, the keiko ended up being a peaceful and a fun and an enjoyable time.
特に新態度をね、全然経験したことない人たちとしたときにそのことがよく起こりました。
And this used to happen quite often whenever I would be introducing Shintaido to people who had never practiced before.
そういった忘れられないように新態度の歴史と青木先生の創作過程や組手やさまざまな人たちとの体験をノートに書き残していきました。
And in order for me not to forget all these wonderful episodes, Aoki Sensei's creative process and the experience that I've had with various people that I've met, I used to jot them down on in a notebook.
2004年の私の同種の審査の時、私は天心合奏を行いました。
I demonstrated Tenshin Goso during my 2004 Doshu examination.
で、これが私が最初に楽天会の人たちがの演舞を見て、その道に入るきっかけを作った技でした。私は創始者に感謝を込めて、自分自身のサイクルオブライフを創始者の前で披露しました。
So this technique, Tenshin Goso, was a technique that moved me when I first met and saw the demonstrations of the Rakutenkai practitioners, which is what made me decide to follow this, follow Shintaido, follow this path. So I decided to show and demonstrate and perform my own cycle of life with gratitude to the founder.
それを見ていたヨーロッパのイタリアのジアニ先生とチェコのデビッド先生から天心合奏アレンジメントを研究してほしいという依頼がありました。
And following that, I had Gianni Sensei from Italy, David Sensei from Czech Republic, who expressed that they wanted to further study and research the Tenshin Goso arrangements.
で、新態度の三大基本である天心合奏、栄光、わかめに焦点を合わせて、新態度がどこから来て、今どこにいて、これからどこに向かうかの探求の旅が始まり、そのプロセスをもう一度書くと心が静まるので、もう一度ノートに書き始めました。
And by focusing on Shintaido's three great pillars, Tenshin Goso, Eiko, and Wakame, and when pondering where Shintaido has come from, where is it currently, where is it heading towards, and starting that journey, I found that by putting things down and writing things down by brush, it actually calmed me down and it helped that process.
それと伊藤先生に混合発砲ダイヤモンド8に至るまでの創作過程をぜひ文章に残しておいてくださいと頼まれましたので、忘れないようにそれもノートに書き入れました。
I was also asked by Ito Sensei to write down the thought process and the creation process of Kongo Happo, Diamond 8. So I also made sure that I included that within my notes as well.
その後のプロセスはパムがよく知っているので、パムからちょっと話してもらいたいと思います。
And actually, Pam knows the process following on from that, so I'd like to invite her to maybe share a little bit at this point.
I would say about 20 years ago, we've had a lot of people come to stay with us for various events and gashikus and workshops and things. And about 20 years ago, David and some others were in the house staying for a few days. And Masashi, as he's just mentioned, always keeps his notebooks. And this is the notebook that started it all off. because at the meeting there were no other Japanese people there, Masashi didn't really worry that if he left it open because nobody could really read it. But this is a sample of his beautiful notebooks. These are the sort of notes that he keeps, and it's all very lovely. And David Franklin has a great interest in Mandarin and Chinese characters, and can read a few Chinese characters. And he would look at this notebook that Masashi left sort of lying open, and he could pick up the odd character, but he couldn't obviously read the Japanese. I can't read all this Japanese either. And David said to me at that time, "Oh, that book, it looks just so intriguing. I really, really would love to know what's written. If there's ever a chance to have it translated, I would be delighted to know, and I would be delighted to help in the process." So that was sort of the beginning, and I kept that in mind. Obviously, I've known Masashi for a very long time now, over 50 years or thereabouts. And he's quite a unique person, and he's got a lot of unique experiences. And I've always felt that he should share these stories and pass them on, because out of the original group of Rakutenkai people and the young group, he's probably the only one left still practicing and teaching and spreading Shintaido. And I just thought it was really important that those memories and those stories from that era were passed on for the people who are practicing at the moment. And then the third part, so I had this idea that maybe in some form they should be kept, these stories should be kept. And the third part of the stage was Nagako-san often comes and stays with us before or after events or for workshops and things. And the three of us would just sit and talk and talk and talk way into the night. Obviously, Masashi can speak in Japanese to Nagako, and I can join in as well. So we would sit and talk in Japanese for hours and hours and hours. And Masashi would be talking to Nagako, and he'd bring out some of his notebooks and show some of the stories and tell some of the stories. And after several occasions of this happening, Nagako said to me that she felt really guilty that she was the only one being able to share all these stories. So we said, well, maybe he should write a book. And we came up with this plan. And Nagako, who was on the British Shintaido management team at the time, took this proposal to the management meeting. And the management team immediately said, yes, we will support this plan. So Peter immediately said, I will edit. And Laurent said, I will typeset. So the plan emerged. From then, it's probably about 2 years ago, I would think, isn't it? Nagako did a lot of the translation work. Masahiro did a bit of it. Then Peter had said to Masashi, just write everything down. Don't worry about the order. I will sort it. And so all Masashi's ideas just came tumbling out onto the computer. But that was then translated and went back to Peter. And I will say that Peter did the most amazing job at untangling all of Masashi's jumbled thoughts. And Peter had a very, very clear understanding of what Masashi wanted to say. And we had a lot of sort of day-long meetings, the three of us. And Peter would say, well, I think this goes here and that goes here, and please expand on this, and let's take that out. But I was so impressed, first of all, to see Peter in his professional role as an author and editor. He was absolutely superb. And I was so impressed by his vision, his clear vision of what Masashi was trying to put across. So that. Once we were happy with the order of the book and everything, we brought Laurent in, and he did the typesetting, and we had lots of fun finding photos and slotting them into place. And that is basically how the book came into being. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much,
Thank
Pam.
you.
Masashi, for the benefit of people who haven't had a chance to look at the book yet, could you just say something about why it's called Aikukan and what that means?
これはもう本の中で説明してありますが、簡単に言うと、愛空間は1プラス1プラス1イコール1の世界、あるいは0の世界、敵のいない、世界です。初期の頃、青木先生がよく話していた言葉で、単なる武道ではなく、武道、宗教、 芸術を超えた深遠な青木先生の世界観に感動したからです。
So I have explained this in the book, but to put it simply, Aikukan is a world where 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 0. And it's a word that Aoki Sensei used in the early days quite often. And I was actually moved by Aoki Sensei's worldview, which wasn't just a martial art, it actually transcended and went beyond martial arts, religion, and art. And his profound worldview is what inspired this title.
Thank you. Pam just said some nice things about the process of constructing the book, and it's true that it was like a complicated jigsaw puzzle. But I know that I've always found on working on books that when the book comes out, you look at it and you say, that's great, but if only I'd said something else, if only I'd put something else in. Is there anything like that that occurs to you that you wish you'd put in the book?
はい、ありがとうございます。身体度を支えてくれた裏方の人たち、私を支えてくれたさまざまなグループの人たち、十分感謝の気持ちを書かなかったけれど、この場で感謝します。
So, yeah, thank you very much. So I was not able to, I suppose, write this down fully, but I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the people that supported Shintaido behind the scenes, the various groups that have supported me over the years. Like I said, I'd like to express my gratitude at this moment.
それからもう少し伊藤先生の関係、喜怒哀楽を共にしたこと等を書けばよかったと思います。
And I would have liked to have written a little bit more about my experience of relations with Ito Sensei, or the good times, the bad times, the sad times, the funny times that we experienced together.
それから最後の章、今後八法のことを詳しく書きませんでした。その理由は、私の号令指導の時、よく青木先生は、皆に、自分で発見する喜びを、奪ってはいけない。で、最後の部分は皆の自由にさせて、あなたは見ているだけで良いと言われました。それが号令者の唯一の喜びですとよく話されました。
And in the final chapter, I purposely didn't write an awful lot to do with the Diamond 8 or Kongo Happo. And the reason for that was Aoki Sensei often used to tell me that as a leader or as a goreisha, you shouldn't take away the joy of discovery for other people. And he would often comment that actually towards the end of the keiko, that it's better and it's fine to just watch and observe and say nothing. And it was from that thought that Aoki Sensei used to say that is one of the most rewarding parts of being a goreisha. So for that reason, I didn't write as fully as I may have wanted to.
ですから私はこのプログラムを皆さんがどのように発展されるか見るのを楽しみにしています。
And therefore, I look forward to how everyone would develop this idea and this program further following on reading this book.
それで、大名のことも書きたかったんですけども、DVD を出しましたので書きませんでした。
I also wanted to write about Taimyo, but as we'd already released a DVD, I refrained from doing so.
ちょうど今日から伊藤先生とアメリカ新態度の人で始めたグローバル大名ウィークが始まりますので、各のクラスにぜひ参加してください。
And actually, today marks the beginning of a global Taimyo week that Ito Sensei and American Shintaido started. So I think we're going to put something in the chat. So please, feel free or make every effort to attend the various different countries' events.
詳しい情報は後で行くと思います。
So yeah, we will make sure that we put some information in there for everyone, should they require.
Good, thank you very much. That's interesting what you said about Diamond 8 particularly, which is an extraordinary piece of writing that is the material that is there on that subject of all the different creative elements and ideas and feelings that you've put into it. And I wanted to ask you, when you took all those different ideas and put them together and distilled them, did you do this basically alone, or were you working continually with Ita Sensei or with other people to produce the forms we're now working on?
これも本の中に書いてありますけども、私は青木先生の創作過程を参考にしました。
So this is something I referred to in the book as well, but I used mainly Aoki Sensei's creative process as a reference.
新態度の転身に至る道として、新態度の大基本である転身こそ栄光わかめの教育プログラムを作りたかった。
And I wanted to create an educational program that furthered the study of the great fundamentals, the three pillars of Shintaido, so namely Tenshin Goso, Eiko, and Wakame.
例えば、転身ごその応用ですが、空手の上級者プログラムの投げ技、青木先生が作られた投げ技がありますけれども、青木先生の美しく柔らかい投げ技を誰でも楽しんで味わって、いただくようなプログラムを作りたかったです。
And I wanted to create a program that allowed anyone and everyone to experience I suppose the beauty of Aoki Sensei's like nagewaza throwing technique or an advanced practitioner's techniques while researching and studying Tenshin Goso.
上級者のプログラムにしちゃうとみんなやりませんから、それまで、こんな楽しい稽古を秘密にしていくのは惜しいと思ったからです。
And I felt that it would be a shame to keep these type of techniques and experiences as a secret for only advanced practitioners, knowing that many people may not get there.
そして8年後かな、イニューシンタードやヨーロッパの人たちの協力で転身ごそアレンジメントの DVD を発表しました。
And it was probably about 8 years afterwards, with help and support from British Shintaido and European Shintaido, that we released a Tenshin Goso arrangement DVD.
私は青木先生が何をしたかではなく、何のためにそれをしたかに興味がありました。
I personally, when it comes to Aoki Sensei, I was not purely just interested in what he did, but I was more interested in why he did. What was the purpose of what he did.
その中の過程で、宇宙を構成する、五大要素という、世界観が広がっていきました。
And within that process, within myself, I suppose I got to experience the world view of the five elements that make up the universe.
目に見える世界と目に見えない世界。それは命の根源ということです。
And that's both the seen and the unseen world, what might be considered the essence of life.
で、次のプロジェクトで転身ごそ、栄光、わかめを含んで全ての稽古が、結晶したので、ダイヤモンド8と名付けました。
And in the next project, when we were sort of combining or bringing together Tenshin Goso, Eiko, and Wakame, as those practices and techniques crystallized in me, I called it Diamond 8.
後で、伊藤先生が日本名で混合八方拳と名付けてくれました。
And it was after that Ito Sensei named it in Japanese Kongo Happoken.
その過程ですが、最初私は頭の中のイメージで、 こう手を隠しながら、ちょっと手を上げますけども、こういうふうな小さな動きで手を動かしていました。
And during that sort of creative process, I often used to, in my mind, be imagining what that might look like. And I used to use my hand as small gestures hidden to express what that might be.
それを偶然横で見ていた伊藤先生が、何をしてるのお前はって言われたので、その考えている方を伊藤先生に話したところ、興味を持っていただいて、いろんなところでやってみるようにと言われました。
And it was one of these occasions where Ito Sensei happened to have seen what I was doing, and he asked me, what is it? What are you doing? And when I showed Ito Sensei what I was thinking and the kata that I had in my mind, he expressed an interest, and it developed from there.
マイケル・トンプソン先生は私の発表するプログラムをいつも温かく見守ってくれていました。
And Michael Thompson Sensei always used to warmly support me whenever I was introducing new programs.
イタリアの合宿に来ていたマイケル先生がこのプログラムを見て、そこに来ていた空手家の人たちに推奨してくれたのが励みとなりました。
And I was greatly encouraged when during an Italian gashiku that Michael Sensei attended, he recommended this program to a group of karate practitioners.
伊藤先生とマイケル先生のが見ているまで、新しいプログラムを紹介するときはいつもナーバスなんですけども、いつも三人一列の真剣勝負だと思っていました。
And I was always nervous whenever I would introduce new programs or ideas in front of Ito Sensei and Michael Sensei. But I always considered it to be an extension of a serious Sannin Ichiretsu practice.
ですから一緒に稽古していた英国新態度をはじめヨーロッパの人たちにこれは良いプログラムだから発表してと言われました。
And I was encouraged also by people within British Shintaido that encouraged me and said that this was a good program to spread and introduce to people.
だからこのプログラムは私の経験をシェアしながら仲間の人たちに励まされながら一緒に作り上げたものだと思っています。
And therefore, I feel that this program is something that was created together with encouragement from all the people, all of my friends and colleagues that pushed my back while I shared my experience as well.
Okay, thank you. That's very helpful. A different question. There are several times in the books you mention dreams. Some of them are predictive dreams, and some of them are dreams that give you the truth of a situation that you were in. Could you say a little about dreams and what they mean to you?
今日も夢を見ました。道に迷って今日の会場に着けなかったという夢です。起きた時に、ここにいればよいんだとほっとしました。
I actually had a dream today, and it was a dream where I got lost and I couldn't get to today's venue. And when I woke up, it was a great relief to think, actually, I just needed to stay here.
誰も時々印象的な夢を見ると思うんですね。で、時々夢で喜んだり悲しんだりすることがあると思います。
I know that anyone and everyone would have impactful dreams, and dreams can sometimes cause you to rejoice, and also it can make you sad.
皆さんたくさんの夢についてもう話は知っていると思います。
And I know many of you have many stories about dreams.
例えばカール・ユングはとても有名です。
And Carl Jung is particularly famous when it comes to dreams.
夢が意識を捉えきれない心の奥底からのメッセージが込められている自己の真相と対話する手段とカール・ユングは言っています。
And it was he that said, Dreams are a means of a dialogue with a depth of self. They contain messages from the depth of your heart that cannot be captured by the consciousness.
夢はそのように古代から尊まれていて、例えば古代エジプトでは夢は神の声だと思われ、ギリシャ・ローマではヒポクラテスは人々は夢を見て神からのメッセージを受け取ることで癒されると言っています。
And dreams have been revered since ancient times. In ancient Egypt, it was said that dreams are God's voice. In ancient Greece and Rome, Hippocrates said that people are healed by dreaming and receiving messages from God.
例えば日本では世阿弥が自分の芸術に行き詰まり、京都の六角堂にこもり、1000日間祈りを捧げた。その最中、彼は夢の中で観音菩薩に導かれ、能の極意を得たという話があります。
And there's a story in Japan as well that Zeami, when he was struggling for the progress within his art, he locked himself away in Rokkakudo in Kyoto and prayed for 1,000 days. And it was within that process that he was visited by Kannon Bodhisattva, who led him to the secrets of the Noh theater, Noh art in Japan.
私もとても苦しい時期にいろんな先生方が私の夢の中に現れて、何回も助けられました。
And I've also been helped during times of struggle by the various masters who visited me during the dreams.
特になんか気の研究をしなさいというメッセージがとても今でも考えています。
And one of the things that stands out is that I've been encouraged or I've been told to study ki.
これからね。
From this point on, so I should continue to further my study of ki.
だから私にとって夢はただの幻想ではなく、人生の転機において深い、示唆を与えてくれるものと、与えるものを見せてくれたと思います。
So I believe that dreams aren't just an illusion, but they are messages that are deep messages that are imparted to you at the various turning points in life.
Thank you. Thank you. I have one more question that I'd like to ask you before bringing in some other people. And my question is, you've obviously contributed so much, both technically and spiritually and organizationally to Shintaido in Japan, in Britain, in Europe, worldwide. What, of all the things you've done, what are you most proud of?
私はここまで一人で来たとは思っていません。ですから、プラウドオブより感謝している、ということがあります。
So I don't believe that I have got to this point just by myself. So rather than proud, maybe gratitude is what I like to express.
まず、私の妻に感謝します。
First, for my wife.
ある禅僧が武道の極意は家を守ることであると言いました。まさに彼女はそれをして私をいつも支えてくれ、私をいろんなところにいつも送り出してくれた。
A Zen monk once said that the main purpose of martial arts is to protect the home. And that is exactly what my wife Pam has done. She has always supported me and always, I suppose, sent me away to various places with a smile and always supported me.
で、日本離れてイギリスに来て、いつも笑顔でこんな私を受け入れてくれたイギリス新態度の人たち、それから様々なグループの人たち、そして新態度に長年にわたって無償の愛で組織を支えてくれている裏、同志、 コニー同士、アイテクの指導者に、そしていつも私に質問したり、研究課題を出してくれる仲間たちに感謝します。
And I also feel great gratitude to all the people within British Shintaido that welcome me always with such a smiley face for someone like me who had left Japan to come to England. Also to Ula Dorshu and Connie Dorshu, who has supported Shintaido for many, many years, giving unconditional love and support, but also to the instructors within ITEC, who always asked me questions and gave me research topics, and the various groups that I've worked with over the years. I'd like to express my deep gratitude.
Thank you very much for answering my questions. I'd like to just bring in some other people now. I wonder, we have three Doshu here. I wonder whether they'd like to say something. Michael, perhaps first. Would you like to comment?
No, I have nothing to say. Not really. Nope. Enjoy the path, as we say.
Okay.
So,
Thank you. Ula Doshi.
We've just had an extraordinary gashku in the UK, and we learned such a lot from Minagawa sensei. I know I had my own opinion, but he went ahead and showed us that space of love, Aikukan, that is written about in his book. And when I started doing Shintaido, I said, oh, I think I found something for life. And well, it was a bit of a throwaway comment. And afterwards, each decade passed and I discovered something new. And now I can't do very much, but there's the world of Aikukan. And I'm stunned, really, to read about everything that Masashi said in the book. And I want to say thank you very much. I've got years of study ahead of me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I wonder whether Connie would like to add anything.
Thank you very much. Thank you, dear Minagawa Sensei. It's such fun having you in my life, and I'm so grateful that you are here carrying on. I know that we all miss Ito Sensei so much, and I'm so grateful that you are here attempting to help guide us. And I do take you as a lovely signpost pointing the way, and I appreciate that so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Ask Masashi anything or comment on the book or say hello? Yeah, Yanto.
Lovely to be here, Sensei Minawaga. I just really want to bless how much you have brought into my being and what that's meant into the world I'm involved in. So you mentioned Jung, and the link I made in my youth mentoring work with teenage boys was to work on the archetypes we take to the boys: the king, the lover, the warrior, and the magician, and to use Shintaido and staff work in that framework. So when I teach the mentor trainings, we do the thing called the mentor dance, where we use staffs and we dance together through staff work, exploring those different qualities of being in that contemporary Western mind's expression. And it's remarkable when we give a bunch of teenage boys some staffs and we get them to move together and either find their empowerment or control their aggression. And it's been a beautiful embodied way for that to be brought into my mentor work and the teenage boys work. And it's hard to know what impact this has on the world, but I do know what you brought to me and what I brought to Journeyman UK has been utterly profound and impactful. And I really want to bless everything you brought. I know I've not been involved in a while because running a charity is so time consuming and absorbing. It's such a big thing. But it's impacted enormously to many, many lives, and especially teenage boys who've been struggling. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lee, I think you're raising your hand.
はい、リサ。リサいっぱいある。
I think that I may have been Minagawa Sensei's first student.
そう。
Just about, right?
Yes, that's right.
We
Best student.
John and I had been practicing in Japan for just a few months, and Minagawa Sensei was running the office at that time, and we were teaching at night, so we couldn't come to a lot of the night classes. So he said, "Well, there's a class that I'm teaching on Monday afternoon, and you should come to that." And we said, "Monday afternoon, we're available. We're not working on Monday. That would be wonderful." I think actually it turned out that he had been listening to us talking to other people and saying that we had Monday off, because we got there and we were the only two students. And we said, "Where are the other students?" And Minagawa Sensei said, "You know what? I made this class for you." And then we'd have occasional people who dropped in and out, but it was amazing for us as beginners, because this was back when we did a lot of kaikaku show at the beginning, and John and I had never done any such thing in our lives, so we could hardly walk after Keiko. But Minagawa was always so encouraging and just made us feel welcome and not clumsy, which we were, and part of the group. And because of that class, we became a part of the Japanese Shintaido really, really quickly. So, and I'm still here. So, that made a big, big impact. If you're teaching English in Japan, you're in a very different stratosphere, level of atmosphere than if you're doing something like martial arts. And in Japan, you don't just walk into a dojo and say, "Hi, I'd like to practice with you." But we almost did, and we were welcomed, and it was very much that class. Then when all of a sudden we were going to really, really cheap restaurants in Shinjuku that we couldn't ever have found, and where they give huge bowls of rice if you paid 50 yen more or something for the young guys who were starving to death. And we had just wonderful experiences and continued to have wonderful experiences. So thank you, Minagawa Sensei.
Thank you.
I wonder if anyone else? No? Oh, yes. Chloe.
Masashi worked with us with a project called The Naked Voice, which is now moving to, very much inspired by our collaborations over 25 years, to voice as medicine for the soul. And I'm really just beyond words to express the gratitude of hundreds of our students who really explored and accessed the spiritual power, the grace of their own voices through the energy movement that you very humbly shared with us, not as a kind of official Shintaido teaching, but more you were so humble and flexible with the manner in which you brought the essence of Shintaido to our students, and I am forever grateful to you for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Does anyone else want to say anything? Okay. Well, in which case, I think it remains for us just to celebrate being together today, to celebrate Masashi himself, and his contribution. We've heard about what his work has meant to several people in many different ways, and to celebrate the book. And if you've got it already, several of you are showing us right this moment. You've got it. That's great. Enjoy it and read it. Please put a review on Amazon. If you like the book, or even if you didn't like the book, put a review on Amazon. That's would be really, really helpful. And let us know anyway what you think of it, because as we've heard, this is a very collaborative activity that we're all involved in, and so we need to hear everybody's voices. So finally, if you've got a book, let's wave it. If you haven't got a book, wave your glass of wine that you've got on your desk or whatever, and say thank you so much to Masashi for having been, well, for everything and for being him. Congratulations and thank you, everybody.